What's up, guys? Today we three are going to demonstrate how to actually give the home buyer presentation. We have another video that shows how to build it, how to make it in Command, which I do have here on my screen that you can't see, and I have it casting on the screen up there that you also can't see. But I have something professional looking that my potential clients, Matt and Amanda, can see while we're going through this. The resources that I brought with me are a printed version of that. I have two things that I'm willing to share with you. I have a client intake sheet that I have the client fill out, as well as a single page version of the client's wish list of what they need in a home. That's where we spend the most of our time. There's also some necessary paperwork that we have. One is the mandatory relationship disclosure. The other is the exclusive buyer representation agreement. I have all of these things with me. I'm going to present them and discuss them with Matt and Amanda as we go, just as I would with a real client. And by the time we're done, they are definitely going to want to buy a house with me.
Maybe.
Maybe. Looks like I got to win the business. Okay. All right. So let's just kind of launch into this thing. All right, guys. Hey, listen. I appreciate you being here. What we're going to do today, we're going to go over the process of buying a home. The process of buying a home with me, so that you kind of understand my processes. But most importantly, we're going to get an idea of what a winning home buying process looks like to you two. Does that make sense? And is that fair? Is that a fair expectation?
Yeah, sounds good.
Awesome. Okay. I'm going to give this to you. This is a printed version of my presentation that you can also follow on the screen. We can skip a lot of the fluff that introduces me and myself. I would appreciate if you would read that on your own time, but we certainly don't have to spend a lot of time on that because we don't want to talk about me, right? We want to talk about you. So where we're going to start is what kind of property you're looking for. Single family, multifamily, condo, where? Just start riffing with me about what we're looking for.
Go ahead.
I need a bigger house, and you finally agreed to buy me one.
I love that. Okay, so bigger house. How big's your house now?
Right now, we're in a 2-bedroom, and
Okay.
we're really looking for something that has that 3rd bedroom or a potential for a home office.
3rd bed or an office. Okay. So do you need a 3rd bedroom and an office, or the 3rd bedroom to be the office?
My dream would be a 3rd bedroom to use as a guest room in addition to a home office, but
Okay.
I'm open to just having the 3rd bedroom act as the home office.
Okay. Are we hunting for the dream right now, or are we like, where are we in that phase?
It falls in our budget.
Yeah.
Falls in the budget. Okay. So we're gonna definitely spend some time talking about budget, but let's keep on going with what the house that we're looking for looks like at the moment. So at the minimum, if we're setting our minimum standards, 2-bed plus that 3rd bedroom for an office. What else? Tell me more.
A yard, because we have dogs.
Okay. What's a yard look like to you?
Ideally fenced in, but that's something that we're willing to do afterwards if needed.
Okay, so if it didn't have a fence, but it could.
Not a deal breaker, but I needed to be
Yeah.
able to have a fence.
Got
And
it.
ideally, a
Okay.
back door that opens to the backyard, if we're talking like big dreams.
Okay, all right, big dreams. That's the language we're gonna speak today. We'll bring it to reality if we have to, but let's talk in dreams and work our way backwards. That make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome.
I think size-wise, at least probably like half an acre.
Okay. All right. So what's important about a half acre?
I just feel like that's a good size for us to use.
Yeah, I don't want to be right on top of my neighbors.
Yeah. Okay. So you want
That's
some
a good
space.
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find a 1/4 acre, but the next house is two miles away.
Yeah, I think being far away from everybody's more important.
For being far away is more important. Okay. So that's important for me to know. So when you guys ask me to see a house that has some great acreage and a good yard, but you got a 4-story house right behind you that can see what you're doing when you're having lunch on your deck, maybe we don't want that.
Yeah.
Got it.
I take a smaller yard that's further away any day.
Got it. Okay. So you said do stuff to paraphrase your term. What else are we trying to do in the backyard? What else is important there?
We talked about a pool in the long-term scheme of things, but
Okay.
that's not something we're looking to install right away. It would be great if we had the space for it.
Got it. Okay. All right. You guys have a lot of like family over. You like wiffle ball tournaments and barbecues and all stuff like that. The
It's a
crinkle.
barbecue.
Yeah, maybe a barbecue.
Maybe a barbecue.
I'm not going to a wiffle ball tournament by any means.
I would say the crinkle in your nose tells me that is not
It's
something
the
that's on your
face.
list.
I can't shut it off.
No. Okay. All right. So the occasional gathering, but like
Yeah.
not like a priority. You're not like those people on HGTV who all love to entertain because of course they all do, right? That's
Yeah,
No, we want to get away from people.
That's
Yeah,
not
family
too big.
over as needed.
all right.
Maybe a room for like a garden.
Okay.
She
That's
likes
it.
to cook.
If I could bring that up there, so that's a couple of times I've heard that theme. We want to stay away from people. So you kind of want to live like a more isolated kind of life. Like you want to be like private and This is my life, not yours.
Mhm.
Kind of thing. All right, that actually makes a ton of sense. Is there anything else that I need to know about the yard or the exterior of the property?
Not really.
No.
Nothing else that is a real need.
Got
We'll
it.
probably have opinions in the moment, but
Okay.
nothing to narrow the search.
Got it. Yeah, and just so you know, so the form that I'm filling out now, this is for my reference, but I'm gonna give you a copy too. So like, as our search goes, I'd love it, guys, if we see a house in like 3 showings, we're making an offer and moving in about a month, that'd be amazing. This process could go over a couple of months, just to set that expectation. If it does, we're gonna come back to this and this can change, okay? This is a dynamic document, so whenever your opinion changes, or you ever have a conversation at home, you let me know so that I know exactly what we're doing, does that make sense? Super, alright, that was the exterior, tell me a little bit more about the interior.
My big thing is I don't want to raise ranch.
We don't wanna raise ranch,
I
okay.
do not. I don't like the layout. I know it's great size wise, but I just don't like it.
Got it. I'll tell you what, people love them or hate them. It's a very polarizing
Yeah,
thing.
I'm in the hate 'em category.
Got it.
Style wise or layout, I'm open. I cannot be in a race ranch.
Okay. Can you tell me anything else about that? So like, if I see something that's similar to that, I'm like, oh, Amanda's gonna hate this.
No, I'm not opposed to like open floor plan or that kind of
Okay.
feel. I just hate the disjointed of the upper and lower level.
Never tried it.
Don't
Okay.
really care for that.
Disjointed is a no-go.
But along with that, having a finished basement would be nice.
Okay, so we're not finished basement. Finished basement, yes. So Matt, what would you do in a finished basement?
I think it would be just nice to have like a man cave.
How do you feel about that?
Go. Have a good day.
Might I cite again our theme of
Separate
we
levels.
want to stay away from people. Okay, so finished basement, man cave. What do you do in the man cave? You like a musician, gamer, you build stuff?
Gamer and I build stuff.
Gamer and build, awesome.
Nerd.
I can see why she doesn't want to be around that stuff. Yeah, right?
We should talk.
You need like a she shed?
If we have a half acre, I could have a she shed.
Okay, so all right, let's throw that puppy on there. She shed is the dream, right? Okay, so let me summarize just kind of our list here. I'm gonna keep going, but I just wanna make sure that I'm getting all the stuff right. So if we got a 2-bedroom now, but we want something that's a 3rd bedroom at minimum for an office. And you opened the conversation by saying that you need a bigger house. So we're getting bigger. We're talking about yard being a half acre. We definitely don't want to raise ranch. Finished basement to have a little bit of extra space. What kind of other extra space do I need? Do you have like a square footage target? Do you need a garage, a deck?
Oh, you know those numbers.
Garage would definitely be important.
Okay, tell me
It's
more
probably
about
a
that.
deal breaker for me.
Garage is a deal breaker.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely has to have a garage.
How
At least
so?
1 car.
1 car minimum. How does it break the deal?
Because I have a workshop that I have to move,
Okay. What do you do in the workshop?
build things.
It sounds like if I ask you what, you're not going to tell me. Do I need to know what you build?
No, just hobby stuff.
Perfect. Okay. Nothing illegal, right?
No, nothing.
Okay. I don't want to lose my license here. All right.
Nothing we're gonna write down.
Yeah, that's true, and I'm gonna share. I send these to the police. All right, so you got a whole workshop to move. So you definitely is a 1 car enough?
2 car would probably be preferable, but I could make 1 car work.
Okay. 2 car preferable. Okay.
Also, if it's a 1-car garage, but we have the finished basement, you're able to split those up.
Yeah, very
So
true.
that's a good combination.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I have a 1 car, I definitely also want a finished basement. What if it's an unfinished basement but one that you can finish?
If it's in the right budget.
He says that. I don't wanna do any renovation.
Okay.
I would prefer more move-in ready with minimal touches. He's more handy and is willing to do that.
She's
So-
the boss.
She's the boss.
She's the boss.
Smart man. Smart man. Spoken like a true husband. Okay, so turnkeys the target. What if I found something that was under budget but needed a little bit of work?
I think that's fine.
Okay.
It needs to be give and take.
Got it. Okay. So we're bouncing around a bit, and that's okay. Let's talk about the budget a little bit. Have you spoken with a mortgage lender yet? Or do you even need one?
Yes, we have.
You have spoken one?
Yes, we have. So
Okay.
we did get a pre-approval.
You did, okay. Can you share that amount?
It was like $550.
$550, okay. $550, great. Did you mention like down payment or monthly payment?
I don't think he did.
Okay.
No, I think they put in the hypothetical payment being, I believe it was like $2,200 a month or something like that, but don't quote me on that.
Okay. 2,200. So that's our target. So at $550, if your payment's 2,200, I mean, do you want to spend up to $550?
Yeah, we were comfortable at $550.
Yeah.
Okay. If you found the right house and it was like $575, is that an option for us?
No, I think 550 was the max. I think
Okay.
they approved us for.
So that's the max, and you're comfortable with the max.
And yeah, we were comfortable with the max.
Got it, okay. So that's the target. So, when you guys ask me to see a house that's listed at like 610, you say this is perfect, I'm gonna come back to this. I'm gonna say, oh, I thought we weren't comfortable at that number. Do I have your permission to bring that up again?
Yeah, but could we put an offer in under what they ask?
We could. Okay, so let's talk about offers. Let's jump a little forward then. So, if we talk about offers, well, actually, let me take a pause for the video. So notice
Break
that,
it down.
yeah, let's break it down. So we're going. So part of this is these will go off script, right? So I have tried to maintain a script. I'm going through the LP Mama, location, price, budget, motivation, which we haven't even really dug into yet. We haven't talked about whether or not you have an agent, but now you do. That's with me. The mortgage, which we were talking about, and all that stuff. I want to get through that stuff early in the conversation. That's the most interesting for them to tell me about the house, but it's also the most important for me to know. The conversation will inevitably jump around, and this is a moment where it jumps around. Okay, and it's totally okay if you go off script. That's why you need to practice these things. All right, so I forgot the question we're answering. So if you guys send me a house that you say is perfect, but it's quite a bit over the budget, I'm gonna want to come back to this and say, hey, I don't know about that. You told me earlier that 550 was where you want it to be. I'm gonna ask you this question: has anything changed? It's okay if something has, but I'm gonna ask you that. Is that all right?
Yep.
Okay. So what happens if we do see that house and it's
I mean, I thought, can we put an offer in under the budget?
okay? So we should certainly spend some time talking about offers and market. Okay. I guess the overarching rule here is that if we're all on a bus together, you're the drivers, I'm the passenger. Okay? Understand that what we're doing here today is to be considered a job interview for me, and that my intention is that when this is over, you're going to want to hire me to guide you through this incredibly fun yet also challenging process, right? So if you find a place that you really want me in the back of the bus, I'm going to say there are some scenarios that say we might be able to get this property for less than they're asking. And there are some scenarios that might make me say, hey, this property is going to go for way more than it's asking. So for each property as they come up, we're going to talk about what the market is demanding on that property. Some things that you should be prepared for before we even get that far. If a property has been on the market for like multiple weeks, we're talking like 3 or 4 weeks, and they have no offers and they've already had a price reduction, chances are it's not exactly the deli over there. There's not a line of people around the corner trying to make offers on that property. So if that property is listed at $575, and we know our budget's $550, and it's been on the market for a month, and they've had 2 price reductions already, there's an actual opportunity there. I can't sit here and promise you that $550 is the right number, but there's an opportunity there to get that below asking price. The conversation is very different when that property has been on the market for 4 days and there's 6 offers. That's the type of stuff that like you see on the news that says this property sold for like $8 bajillion above the asking price. That's what happens in that scenario. So Matt, just to bring it back to your question, you asked me like, could we put in an offer below? I'm going to explain to you what I believe the right number to offer on that property. And then you're either gonna tell me, you know what, Dave, that's some great insight, we're not gonna do that. Or you're gonna say, shove it, Dave, we're gonna do it anyway. That work? Awesome. You drive, I ride.
Makes sense.
Awesome. All right, so that's offers and market. Okay. I just want to make sure we can come back to the wish list and make sure that we've got everything. And just for the sake of the video, we're not going to belabor too much further. I would just love to know more about why we're doing this. Is there anything besides I need a bigger house that is driving us to be here today?
He does a side business, and part of the building and stuff and all of those customizing things, that has taken over part of my living room, and we need to do it to save the marriage.
So it's not.
We just need more space.
Do you need more space, or do you want to stay married?
I
house is
need
cheaper than
space,
divorce.
and I need more space.
Yeah.
Got it. Space, more space.
It was either that or divorce. We decided on the house.
Yeah.
I think that's a good.
The house is cheaper.
The house is cheaper than divorce. That makes a ton of sense to me. All right, so that's it. But you know,
Pay you alimony.
Alimony or a mortgage, it was one or the other.
mortgage. So anyway, just to be clear, this is about bliss at home, and this is about we can do it because it's comfortable because we've got the numbers that make sense. Let's go find something that lets you run your business, that gives you your space, that gives you space away from people. We find that we're gonna buy a house.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Anything else that I've missed here that we should go through any more thoroughly?
I don't think so.
Super. All right, I'm gonna set this aside then. Set this aside for later too. if I could bring our eyes back to the presentation. There's a lot of stuff that is process-based in here. Some stuff's gonna help me, some stuff is gonna help you, but I definitely wanna go to how buying a home works. Is this your first home?
No, this will be our second.
Second, okay, when did you buy the first?
About 7 years ago?
7 years ago, okay. Do you need to sell that home in order to purchase this upcoming home?
I don't think so, right?
No, this one's paid off.
Paid off, so you're gonna hold on to it?
Yeah, we're gonna rent it.
Okay, that's perfect. For the sake of this conversation, I'm gonna let that go. Otherwise, I would be like, there's another opportunity here, but for the sake of the
That's
buyer,
another video.
for the sake of the buyer consultation, I'm gonna move on. Alright, so a lot of stuff has changed. I don't know how often you pay attention to real estate news, but a lot of stuff has changed. I just wanna make sure that we go through the process and my process, okay? So the first step in buying a home is you gotta partner with an agent. Hey, that's me, good news, you got one. We definitely wanna get you pre-approved for a loan, which we've already done. Good news, guys, you're already more than 10% of the way through and we're just getting started. Once we're actually looking, I kind of want to talk about how we should communicate about this process. Everybody does this a little bit differently. I want to tell you what works best for me and make sure that it works best for you as well. So I'm going to be sending you properties. I'm going to do this two ways. I'm going to do it automatically and I'm going to do it manually. I can set it up so the MLS will send you new listings or updated listings daily. So you can get those like first thing in the morning, right? I also spend time every day just looking for houses that I think might fit your criteria, but also that might not fit your criteria, but still kind of scratch the itch, if you know what I mean, okay? So I'm gonna be finding those properties and sending them your way. Listen, I'll tell you what, there's one group of people on earth that I, the agent, cannot outsearch when it comes to a property. That's the buyer themselves. So you're gonna be searching for properties too. This is a full-time job for all three of us, is that okay?
Mhm.
Perfect. When you find a property that you're interested in seeing, what I'm gonna ask is that you send that property to me via text, ideally with all three of us in it. Can we have like a group text with the three of us?
Yeah.
Perfect. So you send me that, like, hey Dave, we're really interested in 123 Main Street. We're able to see it Thursday after work or sometimes Saturday afternoon. Just so that I know right then and there that I can call that listing agent and say like, hey, I have these great buyers that are gonna be a perfect fit for the house. We wanna come by at this time, and if that time doesn't work, it's this time. It's the least pain in order to get into that property to see and see if it makes sense, alright? Because one thing that I really wanna do for you guys, was the three-finger process. I wanna get you the best deal, which we already talked about making offers. I wanna do it in the least time, and most importantly, I wanna do it with the least amount of stress, okay? It's funny that 3 years from now, when we talk about how this went, you might remember how long it took, you might remember what you spent. What you're really gonna remember is how you felt about the whole process. You're gonna remember if I was able to keep this stress-free for you, okay? And one thing that I say is like, we're not dating, we're married. This relationship that we're establishing today, this is permanent. I am providing service to you forever, until she divorces me from my side business, as you know. But that's how this is gonna go. So I want you to remember that it was stress-free, and I want you to remember that you felt that way, so that when your friends say they wanna buy or sell a property, that you grab them by the shoulder and you say, oh my God, you have to call Dave Nielsen. He made that process seamless. That's the deal I'm trying to strike today. Okay, that's my own little pitch for me, let's keep going. Okay, great, we got into that house on that Saturday afternoon, you texted me, you said it's great, you love it, let's make an offer. We already talked a little bit about the market, so we're gonna analyze the market a little bit, and then whatever terms you guys are comfortable with, that's what we're gonna offer. This is kind of where I earn my keep, I'm negotiating this offer on your behalf. I am your warrior, I am your advocate, okay? We submit something, we're making what is probably the biggest purchase you guys have made, certainly in the last 7 years, okay? I'm fighting for you, so that you can sit back, stress-free, and just wait for me to call you and give you good news, okay? Well, great, I called you and I gave you good news. Our offer has been accepted. Once we go under contract, you have a couple of things that we're gonna do right off the bat, right? We're going to do our home inspection. Assuming we don't have to waive it, which is a conversation we'll have at another point. But for now, let's assume we're doing a home inspection. The home inspection in Rhode Island, which we're buying in Rhode Island, correct?
Yes.
Home inspection in Rhode Island. We have, let's just call it 2 weeks from the time the contract is signed to conduct the inspection, which is somebody coming in and just seeing what's up with the house, inspecting the property on that day, right? And then negotiating any repairs or changes we want made to the property, or credits we want in return, or a new price if that's what has to happen. Basically, it's our like secondary negotiation window, okay? That happens in the first 2 weeks immediately after going under contract. I do like to tell people that this can be a stressful time, that's okay. I want to promise you a third finger stress-free transaction, but this is the time that if we get a little scared, that's okay. You call me, you yell at me, just to get the stress out, and you say, sorry Dave, we know you're the best. And then we're gonna move right back on, okay? After we get through the inspection, let's say maybe I was able to negotiate like a $5,000 credit for you because the roof has some damage, right? So I actually got your price lowered after this. There's one other thing that we have to talk about, it's called the appraisal. Now, when you bought a house 7 years ago, I assume you bought it with a mortgage.
We did.
Okay. Do you remember anything about the appraisal process?
Not really.
No.
When you spoke to your mortgage lender, did they tell you anything about the type of financing you're going to have?
I think we did FHA.
FHA is what we're gonna do. Okay, so with an FHA appraisal, there's two things that appraiser is gonna look at. One is the condition of the property, and the other is the value of the property. If the property is really worth $500,000 and we offered $14 million, the bank's probably not gonna wanna give us a mortgage on that property. So they'll put the kibosh on it right then and there. So the bank has to come in and make sure that the value works. Since you said FHA, there are some condition, how do I say it? Some conditions of the property that matter. Can you live in it right away? Is there like tons of chipping lead paint? Do the stairways and staircases and all that stuff, do they have handrails? These are some things that we're gonna have to worry about. The appraiser is the one who's gonna set those conditions. We just have to get through that part. So that part's kind of out of our hands, but we'll be able to see like during showings and inspections if there are any potential FHA appraisal issues, and I'm gonna do my best to keep you informed of what those could be, because I don't like surprises. I don't like surprises in my personal life, and I certainly don't like them in my professional life. So I'm gonna keep you guys as up to date as we possibly can throughout that process.
So does the appraisal happen at the same time as the inspection?
It theoretically could, but generally will happen after. In fact, for me, because the inspection and the appraisal, those are both things that the buyer pays for. And you can figure somewhere between $500 and $700 for each of them, right? I don't want to have this scenario play out where we do an inspection and the inspection is a total disaster and we're gonna back out of the deal, but you've also already paid for an appraisal. I can't have that happen. That's like $600 that you just wasted. So generally my process is going to be, we're gonna do our inspection, and once we know that we're fine with the condition of the house, then I'm gonna tell the mortgage lender to order the appraisal and then we'll get started.
Okay.
It's kind of a fail-safe for you guys to at least save you that bit of money.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, of course, yeah, I definitely don't wanna have that conversation. Remember, I bring you back to this. That is not a third finger transaction. Okay, great. So the appraiser went there, oh my God, he loves the house, the condition's great, value's perfect. We're gonna go on to closing. There's gonna be a couple other things that you have to do with the mortgage lender that just don't use a ton of credit. Don't go buy a car. Don't quit your jobs. Don't do anything that's gonna have serious financial impact while we're under contract and on the way to closing. As we approach that closing, and when I mean approach, I say like the day of that closing, we're gonna have one more chance to walk through the house. It's called the final walkthrough. That's to make sure that the seller hasn't, I don't know, spray painted all the walls, stole all the plumbing, lit the thing on fire. We're there to make sure that it is exactly as you are expecting it to be the day that you move in, the day that you own the property you're in. Make sense? And by the way, if they did take all your plumbing, we don't actually have to close that day. All right, we can have a big fun. Yeah, I'm not here to put you in a bad situation. Remember I said we're not dating, we're married. You're not gonna marry somebody who lets you move into a place that has no plumbing.
No, that'd be bad.
That would be bad. I'd be a very bad husband.
She requires running water.
That's good. I mean, I feel like most of us do. Alright, so, and then finally, I give you keys.
Awesome.
And that's a big win. Perfect. Any questions about the process? I know I talked fast, I know I went through it quickly, and it's some complicated stuff. I wanna remind you that I'm here to answer any questions that you have.
No, I think we're somewhat familiar with it.
Awesome. Okay. If questions come up later, that's totally fine. You just ask me, and then I'll answer to the best of my ability when I can. Perfect. Let's see. Further in the presentation, there's some stuff that brags on me. As much as I like to brag on me, I don't think you need to sit here and listen to me do it. If you'd like to hear how I brag on myself, this page basically serves as my resume. It's got how long I've been in the business, the number of deals I've done, a little bit more about me and what I believe, right? And to me, this is real estate. We're buying a home. This is a very serious thing. If this was a candy bar or Walmart, I'd feel a little bit differently. But we're buying a house that you're gonna live in for Lord knows how long. It sounds like at least 7 years. I want this to go right. So I think you should know at least a little bit about the person that you're doing this with. Make sense? Okay, there's some reviews in here as well, and there is a little bit of homework, because who doesn't love homework? What I have here is a client intake sheet, is what I call this. I'm gonna hold that up. Client intake sheet. I'm gonna ask that you guys just give me your full legal names. The reason I need that is because when I write offers for you, that goes on a contract, okay? So I know your name is Matt, but if your name is Matthew, I need that. I know your name is Amanda, but if it's like Melissa, I kinda need that. Okay? Best emails, phone numbers to put in there, all that stuff that I might possibly need, your birthday, all that stuff. And I would especially love to know your favorite food, restaurant, what your hobbies are, so that when I buy you stuff, because we're married and we're doing this forever, I wanna know what to get. If you like Legos, let me get you some Legos. So put that stuff here too. Does that work?
I swear to God, if you put Legos as a closing gift.
I've done it. So, okay, so that's homework, we're not gonna do that right now. And then, because real estate is its own language, right at the end of my packet there is some commonly used terms. Down payment, appraisal, encumbrance, equity. We definitely do not need to study a dictionary today, but in case I say something, say, hey, what was that big word that Dave used? It's probably in there. And I'll do that, as you know. Okay, any questions about stuff that we've covered so far?
No.
Awesome. All right, so that's for you. I'm gonna make a copy of this, and I'm gonna give this to you as well. And then this is your homework, okay? So there's just a couple of things that I wanna go over just to finish up. I need you for like 5 more minutes. We did all the fun stuff. We talked about the process, which is fun. We talked about the house that you want, which is fun. We're gonna talk some contracts, which is a little bit less fun, but real estate is a system that lives on documents, so let's talk about the documents. Excuse me, so there's 2 here. This one is called the Rhode Island Mandatory Relationship Disclosure, not exposure. Mandatory Relationship Disclosure. This document goes over all of the ways that a real estate agent can serve you. What I am considered your designated client representative. Your designated client representative is your warrior and your advocate, is the person who represents you and only you. If you guys and my wife offer on the same property, and I know you offered $550, and I know she's at $540, I can't tell her that you are at $550. That's my wife, because I am bound by this relationship, the designated client representative. I am your interest only. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Hopefully my wife would hire me to represent her, but you never know. Okay, there are other things here, we don't, like, you can read these at your leisure, they don't really apply, but again, it's just designated client representative. On this form, it states that you guys, as buying, will be, that's a set-aside buyer. Oh, I already have it checked. So, this box here, I am your designated client representative as the buyer. I would just ask that you guys sign this. You can bring it home and read it if you want to. And when you do, you can sign it by hand, or I can send it to you digitally through a service that we have called DocuSign. A lot of people prefer to do that, and that works totally fine by me. The other document that we're gonna go over, and then we're gonna call it a day, is the exclusive buyer representation agreement. Remember how earlier I said that I'm here treating this as a job interview? This is the, oh my God, we wanna hire Dave document, okay? So, this talks about how I serve you, where I serve you, when I serve you. Per this document, I'd like to sign a 6-month contract. Today, my watch is talking to me. Today is December 11th, so I would have this contract go through the end of May of next year, okay? Hopefully it doesn't take that long. If it does, we can revisit it then, but hopefully sometime in the next 6 months, we're gonna have a property for you guys, okay? It also says where we're looking. You said Rhode Island, but I am licensed in Massachusetts and Connecticut. So if we search there, I'm gonna be looking for you there too. If your shop gets transferred to Worcester, off to Worcester we go. If you go off to Connecticut, so be it. We can do all that stuff, okay? The other thing that's really worth talking about is how real estate agents get paid, okay? When you guys bought your house with your agent, it is most likely that that agent was promised a compensation or a fee from the selling agent, from the listing agent.
Yeah, our agent was free.
Yeah.
Right, a lot of people think it's free. So I could argue for hours about how it was never really free. However, it's definitely not free. We can't be saying that. So the agent is being paid, I don't want to say directly by the buyer, but we are working our compensation into offers. So this is the question I ask you guys today. When I submit offers on your behalf, I'm asking for your permission and your blessing to include a 2.5% compensation for myself in any offer. Would that be okay with you?
Why are you asking us permission for the seller to pay you?
Because the seller can say no.
Oh, okay, so they would reject the offer because they don't wanna pay you?
It's conceivable, yeah. I don't think it's going to happen, and in the few months that we've had this kind of new system, that hasn't happened to me yet.
Okay.
But it's America, right? We all work for free. I got bills to feed and kids to pay. So I gotta make that work, right? So to me, I just ask permission to include a 2.5% compensation into the offer.
So we have to pay that on top of our $550 pre-approval?
So it depends. So if we buy a house for $550 and I'm able to write the 2.5% into that, the purchase price is $550. All the terms that come under that are included in that $550. So if I said, hey, I'm gonna write an offer for $550,000 and you're gonna give me $125,000 back, all that matters is that top number. And the seller is paying out whatever credits or concessions that we work out otherwise, right? So in that example, yeah. Well, actually, no, I'm sorry, I answered that backwards. In that example, no, because it's worked as part of the $550.
So we're not bringing your commissions separate?
In this example, no. So we should probably play out what happens if the seller says no. If the seller says no, there is a scenario where I would ask, like, hey, it was the difference between getting the house and not getting the house. Could you guys bring a compensation of 2.5% to the closing so that we can satisfy my brokerage's fee?
Makes sense.
Okay, well, I mean, it's a case by case thing, right?
Yeah, every offer we submit, I mean, hopefully, honestly, Amanda, it's just gonna turn out that the seller's like, okay, as long as I get the number I wanna walk away from the house with, it's fine. They could be willing to pay me $150,000 as long as they get the number that they need, right? That's what they should be focused on. But yeah, it's case by case, because my process is to include it in an offer, and then it serves as a negotiation point between, our team and their team as we're trying to buy the house. Here's what I'm gonna tell you, I'm not gonna let it stand in the way of you guys buying a house. The ultimate goal that you're hiring me for today is to get yourself a house. But the process, I would ask, starts with allowing me to include that in any offer.
Right, well, I think it's included now, that's fine.
Yeah, it's not gonna cost us anything out of pocket.
Cool. Yeah, it shouldn't. And again, the only out of pocket part, Matt, just to be clear, is that if they say no, then it's a conversation we're gonna have after the fact about how we're going to work that into our process.
We would talk about it first.
I'm never
We're
gonna.
not just gonna all of a sudden have a $10,000 bill for you.
Yeah, surprise. No. Yeah, no, like I said, I don't like
That would definitely cause the divorce.
Yeah, I would imagine that would be a pretty big
Two
problem.
divorces.
Two divorces. Yeah, right, yeah, because we're not married anymore, are we? Yeah. No, yeah, so I don't like surprises. And
You can have Dave in the divorce.
thank you. Everything's a negotiation, and
Makes
everything it's like a team, right? We're all on the same bus. Everything's a team. We decided together. We're gonna decide what makes sense for all of us.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Perfect.
Cool. All right. So because again, this document is not uncomplicated, but not crazy complicated, I am gonna give this to you to review at home. If you'd like to sign it now, that's tremendous. But I always want people to sign when they're comfortable. So if you want to review it and come up with any questions, you hit me up on there, and I can send it to you to sign digitally, or you can return a signed paper copy to me.
All right, perfect.
Awesome. All right, I'm ready to get started.
Sounds good, thank you so much for your time.
You got it. Thank you.